Okay, I got the first round of goodies for my 1970 SS 396 Chevelle. If you remember in my previous video, this is a true SS car, so I want to replicate all these modern touches to look completely factory, but I wanted to bring today's standards of just functionality and just drivability of the car to today's standards. So one of the things that I did choose was to go to electric windows, and Nu-Relics has a great window kit for the regulators. There's going to be a motorized front and rear window, and then I also upgraded to what they call the hand crank triggers. So basically the hand cranks for the windows are going to stay in place, but then you pull up on the hand crank and then that will roll up the window. You push down on the hand crank and it'll roll down the window. We're also going to tie a switch over to the driver's position, so then I can, from the driver's seat, control all the rest of the windows, so I don't have to lean over and trigger them up and down. So that's going to be really nice. The other thing that we went with was the Dakota Digital RTX gauges, which replicate the factory gauges for the SS gauge cluster, but then obviously have digital readout on these gauges, and then just better lighting, more functionality of control of what you're going to see through the gauges. So they're going to replicate what the factory looked like, but obviously bring it up to more modern standard. The other thing we wanted to do was lighting. So the cool thing is Dapper lighting has an OE glass option. So we contacted them and we purchased low beam and high beam with the projector lamp inside of it, but it's going to have OEM glass. So it's going to look very factory. It's got a little bit of a slight clear section to it, so that doesn't look exactly factory, but it's as close as replicated, but upgrading the lighting. So I was willing to deal with that. We'll open up these boxes and show you what they look like in another video that I'm going to have just for the Dapper lighting when we go to install them here in a week or so. So more to come on those. The other thing was crazy is that this car did not come with seatbelts for whatever reason. So what I did was I looked all over online, and people say that they sell seatbelts, but you can't find them. Apparently GM discontinued to sell any of these seatbelts with the GM logo due to probably issues of liability and stuff like that. So getting these factory style seatbelts with the GM logo are next to impossible to find, other than going to an aftermarket seatbelt that looks a little bit different. So I did find a guy that made seatbelts, and so I bought a full kit from him, which is going to consist of the 2 front lap belts, the rear 3 lap belts, and then also the shoulder belt as well. So I've got that whole kit, finally came in, and we're going to get that installed. Brand new bolts and everything, hardware and stuff, that's going to get all installed in the car. Another thing that's going to be installed on the car that I'm taking it to a shop actually to have them do the windows and the RTX gauges, so I don't have to mess with that. They're also going to install a alarm, which will give me obviously security with the alarm, but then the other thing it's going to give me is functionality with the remote to arm it and disarm it, and at the same time it's going to unlock and lock the doors with some actuated door lock triggers in the doors. And with that said, I also wanted to go completely keyless, and I went with this keyless trunk lock as well. So that's going to replace the factory trunk lock that has a key in it. It'll still have a key, but when I arm and disarm the car, it will lock and unlock the door, the passenger and driver's door, but I'll have another button that I can trigger and pop the trunk. So I'll go completely keyless, and I won't have to use the keys and jeopardize scratching the paint or anything like that getting into the car. So that's going to be pretty cool. So I'm really excited about that. It was a feature that I had in my previous Chevelle, and I really loved it. The other thing we're going to do is a stereo upgrade, and what I beat my head trying to come up with a solution for the radio. There is a lot of aftermarket Bluetooth radios, and I just don't like the look of them. There is one company that is manufacturing a aftermarket Bluetooth. It's a factory head unit, but I believe they're rebuilding it, and so on. Long story short, they're out for many months. So I was coming up with another solution for that, and I found this in great shape AM radio that I bought online. And it's a factory radio. It works great. Not that I'm going to use AM or anything like that on it, But basically I want it in place in the dashboard to look completely factory. And then what I'm looking at doing, which I've been talking to a bunch of people, is either putting another deck, a shallow deck, in the glove box, and having it in there to run my full system, which is going to consist of front speakers in the kick panels and a sub in the rear trunk, which is going to be a small one single 10-inch sub. And then I'm going to have two 6x9s on the package tray. Been talking to people talking about going with a deck, in a shallow deck in the glove box, or doing a Bluetooth amp, I guess apparently is another option. Or there's a Bluetooth receiver that is a really small option that some people have been talking to me about. So I'm still figuring out what I'm going to do about the stereo system. But these are already the start of what I'm doing to monetize this car. Again, it's not for everyone, and I know not everyone's going to like what I'm doing to the car, but again, I always try to say is that these cars, you can find them in all different shapes and, configurations and what have you. That's the greatest thing about it, is that you take your own personality, take one of these cars, whether it's a basket case that needs to be completely rebuilt, or you buy something like I did that was already restored, and then you make your personal changes to it. But whether you want to do something that's completely custom and away from the factory look, or you want to do something like myself that's factory with a motorized touch to it, with all the features of upgraded components that they do offer nowadays, or if you just want to keep it completely OG and do nothing to the car and make it completely 100% replicated of what a factory would be, to each his own. These cars are what you want. You put your hard-earned money into it and you build them the way you want it. So hopefully some other people out there, I know they're not going to like what I'm doing, because this car is a true SS car. It is not numbers matching. It does not have a numbers matching engine in it. So I don't feel like I'm taking a car that is completely pure and robbing it of the purity. It is unpure, if you want to say, to the purist, because it doesn't have a numbers matching engine in it. But everything else is original factory restored to the SS, and it does have a build sheet, so it is a true SS car, which I really wanted to start with. Again, everyone's got a different taste and touch to their cars. I love them all, whether you got big wheels, small wheels, whatever you want to do, LS, carbureted, big block, small block, whatever. This is what I'm doing with my car. Hopefully you guys really like what I'm doing and respect what I'm doing. And again, I'm doing it for myself, not for anyone else. So when it comes down to it, if you don't like it, move along, find another video to watch. If you do like it, stay tuned, because I really got more. We're not stopping here. It's going to take a little bit of time to build this car the way that I want it, but the goal is to start with this car and do what I want to do with it. After my previous 70 Chevelle that I had a really good time building, and I really enjoyed it, I wanted to change it up and go a different direction with this car, and that's what we're doing with this one. So again, stay tuned for more videos. If you got any questions, drop them down below. If you've got any suggestions or ideas or anything like that, also drop them down below. But I hope what you see is what you like, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.